Welcome, you guys. We are here with one of my favorite people. We have Robert in the house, and Robert has been part of our communities for the last few years now, and it's been awesome getting to know him. He is known as the king of calculus. So, if you have a student that is struggling with calculus, you are definitely going to want to get in touch with Robert. So, welcome, Robert.
Thank you, Joanne. Thank you for having me.
I love having you, and I'm so glad to feature you inside of our community and inside of our professional freelance tutors directory so that you can share your story and people can get to know you. So, tell us a little bit more about your journey of how did you get into tutoring and all of that kind of stuff.
Sure. So I've been tutoring off and on for about the last 10 years, and I started actually when I was in high school and all the way up through college while I was teaching. And while I was teaching, I thought to myself, I had this vision of what teaching should be when I was a kid. I knew I wanted to be a teacher. I knew I wanted to help others. But when I went to the classroom, it it was so far away from what I had envisioned, so much to the point where it was either I had to leave or I was going to end up in a really dark place, and I didn't want to go that route.
Mm.
So I left for a while, and then I decided, hey, you know what? I want to get back into education, but I don't want to go back into the classroom. And I know I've been a good tutor, but I wanted to take that net. I wanted to go all in on myself.
hmm
And so here I am 2 years later.
Yay! How exciting! And so, so how did you figure out to focus specifically on calculus?
Well, it's funny. I actually failed calculus, or should I say, I failed the AP exam when I took it in high
Okay.
school, and I took it again. So I took it again in college, and I thought to myself, you know what? This is pretty easy. It got to the point where I had students literally waiting outside of my dorm to give them help.
Oh my gosh. I remember too, you shared a story with me one time and you were known as the curve buster. Tell us
Yep.
about that.
Sure. So it was finals in 2011, and we had just taken our final, and my professor was a pretty quick grader, so we knew how we did almost, well, that night. So I remember walking around, and I overhear a couple of guys talking about the exam, so I decided to pop on in, and they said, oh, I got a 60. Oh, I got a 57. I don't remember what the exact numbers are, but we'll just say those for the sake of example. And then they notice that I walk in, and they look dead at me and say, Robert, how did you do on that exam? And so I check, and I told them I got it like a 98. And their faces they were scared because they realized the curve wasn't going to exist.
Right, right. Yes. So they were really bummed that you ended up scoring really well and it kind of busted that curve, but you realize that this is an area that you want. And um so tell us today, like, who is your ideal student to work with?
Yeah, so my ideal student is someone who is struggling with calculus and is under that time crunch and pressure of being under VAP curriculum.
Mhm. And so you love helping them. I love this. So you didn't do so well on that AP exam, and now you've almost made it your mission to help other kids do well on that AP exam.
Absolutely. I mean, I tell my students all the time, my goal is to share with them the mistakes I made so that they don't make them,
Yes.
so that they
Yes.
can do
That's
better than
awesome.
I did.
Yeah. Absolutely, because it's possible. And then they don't have to worry about having to take it again when they go off into college, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, at the end of the day, we both seen how horrible the student loan crisis is. So I'm just
Yes.
trying to do my piece to help lower that burden.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, the more credits you can get going on into college, it's going to save, money over time. So I think it's a great investment for anybody to really think about when you're thinking about those AP exams. It's not just about like getting the kid to get a certain score on it. While that is important, it's so much more. It's more than just the score. It's not like a regular test, right? This is about paying less money when you go into college at the end of the day. So it's a really great investment in your child. And to go on into that test with confidence and knowing that you can do well, even if it's a hard, difficult subject for you. Gosh, I can imagine what a gift that is for kids. And so, what are some of the results some of your students have been able to get?
So I know for a fact I had one student take the AP exam. They started off real they it was I would have been shocked at the beginning of the year if they passed the exam. And then going into the exam, they were a little nervous, but they felt confident. They ended up passing with a 4 out of 5.
Okay. Yes. That's awesome. I love it. And that's what they need. They need a 4 or they need a 5, right? What happens if they get a 3?
Some schools like the one I went to accept threes.
Uh-huh.
Usually threes are the bare minimum.
They're the bare minimum, but not at every school.
Not at
And
every
so
school.
it does depend on the school, so take a look at which schools are going to accept which AP exams, and not all AP exams are accepted into all schools. So you want to do your research. If you're thinking of a certain school, take a look at what do you need to get on that. And it's not so that people like think lower and they get a lower score. Like that's not the whole point. The point is to know what is the expectation for the schools that you're applying for so that you know what you need to give to give it your all, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So you've been tutoring now kids for how many years have you been tutoring kids?
Off and on, I've been tutoring since 2010.
Nice.
Officially in my tutoring business, I just celebrated the start of my 3rd year in July.
Yay.
July 4th,
Yes.
actually.
And you went completely online even before the pandemic, didn't you?
Actually, no.
No, you didn't. You joined during the pandemic.
I joined during the pandemic.
Okay. And that was a good time to join because you had no other choice at that point. Like it was online or lose your business. And you were just starting your business at that point in time. So um what an incredible time to start your online tutoring business and now here you are you've got it you've got students and I remember you saying something about like this is one of the crazy times of the year for you because kids are starting to realize that they're not as doing as well maybe in the class as they want to and so it's around this time of year that really people start to find you more, is that correct?
Yeah, so this is what I affectionately call my peak season, which actually is going to probably start really kicking in a couple weeks because up here in Maine, our progress reports come out around the first or second week of November.
Okay.
And it's at that point people realize, oh, I'm not doing as well in math as I should be. I should probably
Yeah.
get some help or I'm going to fail.
Yes. Yeah. And so how can people find you if they're in that position right now and they're like, I no, I do need help. How can they find you?
Yeah, sure. So I have a Facebook page. You can find me Main Street Math Tutoring. I also have Instagram, which I need to actually start using more often. I also have a podcast of my own, the Main Street Math Tutor podcast, which
I
is
love
going to
it.
be coming out with new episodes here soon.
Uh-huh.
And
I love
then
it.
and then outside of that, I have a website, www.mainstreettutors.com.
Uh-huh. And you know what I love? I love Main Street Tutors. I remember we had this conversation in the past about how you came up with your name. How did you come up with Main Street Tutors?
Sure. So I'm from the state of Maine, and I I always thought, I want to have a name that makes it sound like I'm available to everyone. At so I honestly means it was either going to be Main Street Tutors or I don't even remember the other name to be honest with you.
Yeah. But like every town has like a main street.
Yeah,
Right? Like they have a main street. And so like I love that because it does like you just feel like the guy that's like on over there and that's so cool. And you've had the opportunity to work with different time zones. What time zones have you had the opportunity to work with?
sure. So I've had students in the East Coast where I'm from. I have a student right now in the Central Time Zone. I
Uh-huh.
had one in the Rocky Mountains. I've had one in California, and I almost had one in Canada.
Okay.
So I'm starting to expand my international roots a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And so these kids that are coming from other countries, they can take the AP classes as well and use that towards the US classes, the
I believe
US
so, yes.
institutions. Okay. And even if not, if they just need help in calculus, there you are. Like because you can help with the high school calculus, the college calculus. You are just the king of calculus. So you guys bring it. Like this man is the real deal. I know I've referred him to other people in the past because he's so good. When it comes to connecting with other tutors, what are some of your goals that you'd like to meet when you're connecting with other tutors?
Sure. So being a part of I like to get to know people who aren't in my subject area, mostly
Mhm.
because I don't want to I don't teach everything and I don't even want to try.
Yeah.
So I find tutors that teach what I don't. And even if they do,
Yes.
if I ever get fully booked, I have 4 or 5 different tutors that I can contact and say, "Hey, you want a student?"
Yeah, exactly. I just had that happen yesterday. I had somebody and they said they couldn't meet on the 2 days that I had some openings left. And they said, "But we can meet Monday, Wednesday, and Friday or Friday." And I thought, "Oh my gosh, like those are my days. Monday and Wednesday are completely booked and I don't work on Friday evenings." And I almost went here. I almost went like, "You know what? Well, it's 4:30. Wait, 4:30, Joanne, no way are you gonna start at 4:30 on a Friday evening. Not happening, not happening. No way, no how." I'm like, "There are other tutors that are looking for students. Let's just share the wealth." And so, that's exactly what I did is I said, "Hey, would you like me to introduce you to some other tutors?" So we do have, once we do get booked solid, it's a great opportunity for us to, to use our connections and be able to share students with each other. That's the beauty of the community, and you do that so well too. I know you are so giving and sharing, and you refer people who are, in different areas. This is the power of niching down because you don't have to work as hard when you niche down. Like, you're really good at calculus, so you don't have to do a lot of prep and preparing. Like, you can go on the go with that, right? Like, you can just like be so good at that. Like, I love reading tutoring, so I'm able to just do it. I don't have to think about it. But if somebody asks me to jump into another subject, I have to do a little bit more prep and a little bit more planning and those kinds of things, which take more time. And this allows us to have a business that is easy to run and fun to run with our ideal clients, and other people can deal with some of those other subjects, and we can help them grow their business. Well, thank you so much for being a part of our amazing community, Robert. It's always great being able to chat with you. And again, check out Main Street. It's Main Street Math Tutors.
Main Street Math Tutoring, yeah.
Main Street Math Tutoring. Check it on out and connect with Robert.